Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome to 7 Days to Die. This is a game that's been around for a while. It's been around since 2013. I first picked it up probably a year and a half to 2 years after it first launched in the early alphas. They've been through so many alphas, and I put thousands of hours into the game. I was pretty good, but I was not amongst the experts within the game. In fact, I found that this was a great game to play in a co-op type mode, and so I got family involved in playing this game, and not everybody's at the same level, and so you play a different style ultimately. But it was a game that I would play for a while, set aside for a while, come back to and play again for a while, and then the game finally came out with its 1.0 version, and after not playing for a few years, and I even did this in the early days of the channel, totally unedited, when 1.0 was announced that it was coming out, and I thought that was going to be a big deal. I got into it and did a pre-1.0 test run to get used to the game, and seeing that Alpha 21 at that point was pretty different than previous versions of the game, the last versions I had played. And then I get into the pre-1.0, the beta version of it, and did a second run through. And then 1.0 itself came out and did a run through, and before long was pretty good. But after essentially reaching endgame, I was looking for something more. Now, there are plenty of good content creators in 7 Days to Die out there, but one in particular stands out, at least for me, and I've taken in a lot of content from them, and that's Guns, Nerds, and Steel. And he introduced me to an upcoming Overhaul mod for 7 Days to Die. Now, I had done an Overhaul mod, but it had been many years since I had played one for this game. And I was intrigued by what he was presenting, and that is Afterlife. So we're going to try Afterlife here, but I do things a little differently on this channel than what you're going to get on other channels. Such as a Guns, Nerds, and Steel as a perfect example. A lot of the content creators are fantastic. They're amazing at the game. And then there's a few that are total noobs out there and suck at the game. It's a difficult game to master. It takes a lot of time to get really good. Most players that play 7 Days to Die are going to be somewhere in between. They are not noobs. They have figured the game out. The noobs usually go seeking content, or average players go seeking content. And the experts, well, they're the ones producing a lot of the content, and they're at a totally different level on how they play, and it's hard to mimic that. I do fall in the in-between territory. I'm pretty good at this game. However, I'm nowhere near the level of those quote-unquote experts, but very few are. Most are going to be somewhere in that pretty good realm. So I'm hoping that you can pick something up on, well, one, this Overhaul mod and how fantastic it is, and I strongly recommend if you want to use the 7 Days to Die mod launcher if you want to get into this. But also, what I do here is I always create really difficult challenges. Now, first thing, Afterlife alone is a mega challenge. It is challenging all in and of itself to the extreme. You don't need to have the difficulty up to make it happen. Now, the big thing that Afterlife is going to do, and I want to get into the game soon, I do not want to delay. We'll introduce a lot of the game mechanics as we go along. The game creates a lot more realism and a lot more steps along the process, and it really, really slows down progression. You can go 100 days and do what you've normally done in 10 or 15 days in game. It creates a very different playthrough. I'm obsessed with it. I'm on my second playthrough already with family and enjoying the heck out of it. I am obsessed with this, and I can't wait to introduce it to you. Single player ultimate challenge mode. Let's get into the game. So when you first go to enter Afterlife, they've changed a lot. This is truly a total overhaul. And you begin by selecting an archetype. It's just a base point. That's all it is. It does not limit your gameplay later on. However, to divert away from the skills that it introduces for you is quite challenging. These first couple of options really give you a leg up into the game. So your first character profile that you can pick is the normie. And the normie is someone who's going to have equipment. You're going to have a business suit already, so you've got armor, decent wad of old world cash money, so you've already got some money to spend, to invest. I don't know how much, I haven't played as the normie, but it comes with a wristwatch, and that's a pretty important thing to begin with, because this overhaul mod is going to take away elements. I'll show you those shortly. We're not going to be playing as the normie. But that wristwatch is definitely a leg up on the competition when you're starting out. It also begins with a very practical backpack. I don't know which level of backpack, but that also is going to make a pretty big difference in how much stuff you can haul around. That's a game changer with this mod. It starts you with some skills. Perk system, the attribute system, totally reworked here. And it starts you with swimming and athletics. It makes you quick. You also get better deals at vending machines, which can be a handy, useful tool. As traders, they're gone. The sheriff is a very popular pick, and the reason why is, one, you start with armor, but two, you start with a pistol, which can be an absolute lifesaver. But the biggest thing is you begin with a baton. You begin with an advanced level club, and 25 in clubbing and 25 in pistols, which is a total lifesaver. The crawler, aka the brawler, is the fisticuffs approach. But you also start with some benefits, at least. The savage, the primitive armor set, archery and butchering, big advantages, big leg up, but definitely weaker than what you're going to get out of the first two, or the brawler for that matter. The hoodlum gives you an armor set, gets you involved in knives and lockpicking. And then there's the Enigma, and that's where we're going to start. The ultimate challenge, because this mod is crazy challenging right off the bat. But the Enigma, nothing. You start with nothing. The look and feel, still very much 7 Days to Die, but there is definitely some differences visually. I'll let you see that for yourself. But this mod begins with a book, and your introductory quests are based off of this one. After skimming the early pages of this conspicuous tome, simply titled Guidebook, it appears to contain instructions describing how to survive in the wilderness from scratch. That one would find such a book in your exact predicament is simply uncanny. Okay, this equates to our beginning quests from the game. And first up is gather plant fibers and craft a fiber sling bag. Ooh, we're on a trail already with a POI nearby. Okay, that is a good start point for us. But let's use our fist and gather. So first up, a sling bag. This is our first backpack. Backpack being one of your important pieces, and we are going to have to equip that into a backpack slot. The only thing we began with is a sun hat. The sun hat offers no armor. All we get is a reduction of rain on glass, which is really cool. When it rains, you get that little glass effect, and it's a little harder to see. Get a little bit of heat resistance, cold resistance. That's all we have right now. That is all we have. With that, we turn the page in the guidebook and find schematics describing how to craft a Neolithic axe. First tasks you to acquire an appropriate chunk of stone to use as the tool head. You'll need something a bit more hefty than the stones laying about. So we need small stones, and we need to make a sharp stone. Luckily, these things are marked. We don't want to venture away from this trail. This trail is going to be really important to us. And so from there, we're going to take two stones, bang them together, and make a small, sharp stone. But now we need to gather a large stone. So it's not just one stone we need something a little bigger. And so we're going to have to bang the larger rock. For that, we acquire a large stone. And this is going to start getting us into play on our axe. So from there, the large stone we're able to sharpen and make a large sharp stone. So two separate entities now, small stones and large stones. But to make that axe, we're also going to need sticks. And the easiest way to get that right now is going to be a bush like this one. Finish assembling your axe and open the guidebook once more. The next section describes how to set up a simple campsite. First task is to use your newfound tool to fell a tree for wooden logs. Start with a smaller tree. You do not collect any wood along the way, though you can get sticks as you chop. You do not get wood until you've actually chopped down the whole tree. Let's start taking note of our environment, though, before we push too far through these basic quests. Looking up above, you may notice that there is no compass, there is no time, and there is no map. We are totally lost. Over time, we're going to have to make a watch, make a compass, make a map. Love also that you do get a torch slot, so you can put a torch on your back so you can see where you're going and do things along the way. Alright, well, it looks like the next task is to go camping. We're going to need to place wooden logs, campfires, piles of stuff and wood, and of course the famous bedroll. You can see just searching a car takes 12 seconds initially, much worse than what you get for level 1, day 1, base game, 7 Days to Die. Ho ho ho, thank you, we got a stone spear and a flashlight. Wow, that's a good find. But the quality of this stone spear is just a level 1, it's just a level 1, okay, don't get too excited here. Alright, well, they want me to place some wooden logs. That I think maybe right here is a decent site for what we're about to do. So, I'm gonna drop down a couple logs. Need a campfire. It's gonna take more stone than what I have. 10 small stone to make that one happen. This mod does such a good job at slowing down progression that a basic box is not an option. A simple trash bag or a pile of food, something that usually you'll search and then it disappears from the world, is actually something you can create and create for free. So your first basic storage is actually these two items. Our first initial little campsite here is going to come down to getting all of these things placed out. The next section of the book too passionately laments the darkness of the wilderness and offers a means to produce a wooden torch. Unfortunately, the writing glosses over one glaring detail while describing how to make pitch: the need for a metallic container with which to boil resin. A careful infiltration into a dwelling will be required. The undead await. So we need a cooking pot and cloth fragments. We're going to have to get into our first POI, our first point of interest, to make that happen. Before we do so, though, there's one more very basic thing that I don't have. And that is anything besides my skivvies and a little hat. We need to make an outfit. Fortunately, a primitive outfit is still very possible for us. I've already picked up a few things, looting a couple bags of trash, and of course this car beside us here. But I'm gonna have to gather some more fibers to make that happen. So one of the key points of this mod is that the old attribute system has been replaced by a skill building system where you learn by doing. The more you do something, the better at it you get. And I absolutely love that system. You don't just dump points into something you've never done, never tried, never known, but you actually progress. You progress by doing. And oh, we do not want to go that way. That boar will kill me in a heartbeat. So you can see on the right hand side of my hotbar, as it disappears there, as I do things, I level up. So punching grass is allowing me to develop my brawling skill, and as I gather resources, my gathering also increases. You can see my gathering. Oh gosh, there's another boar right there. Woo. Luckily, their aggro zone You got to get pretty close before they really go aggro on you, but they will kill you very fast, especially without any kind of armor in place. Alright, to make the rest of my primitive set, it's going to take more than what I have. The tribal rags also take wood, so we're going to have to gather about 14 wood here. Fortunately, I have... Yes, I have logs. Okay, so from the logs that we chop down, we can turn this into wood. And with that, we can get started on crafting our basic outfit here. With a primitive armor set in place, we're going to go ahead and switch to that full set and put that clothing on. So we do have your traditional primitive armor, but the quality is ridiculously low for everything. But it's going to be an absolutely vital start to our survival here in what is... I can't emphasize enough how challenging this is going to be, especially without starting in one of those stronger classes. With a primitive armor set, we are beyond weak. And the biggest thing that makes us weak is the fact that we just have no skill with any weapons whatsoever. To make things even more challenging on us, the game system in this Overhaul mod is included that I'm not going to gather much until I level that up. I'm not going to do any damage with any weapons until I level them up. And again, you learn by doing, so you can't just dump points into things to make it happen. And we don't get points in the traditional sense in this game either. And so it's going to take us a long time to be effective in a fight. There's a number of other variables that are kind of holding us back, besides the simplicity of just not knowing where anything is in the world, as we get axes up to a level 1. My little camp is being invaded by a boar right now as we speak. 2 boars! Oh man, there's one on both sides of the car there. So we're not going home at the moment. Is that our POI right there? Through the woods? Yes, it was. Okay. Looks like we're going to have to go that direction. Craft myself a bow. And to make arrows, we're going to have to make sharp stones, the shafts for the arrows themselves. From there, sharp stones combined with shafts, combined with plant fibers and feathers, you can get, at this point, 7 arrows. Our first wilderness POI stands before us, and it's definitely going to be a challenge to do anything with this, but we'll certainly do what we can. I think I'm going to try to move my camp for the first night to here, if we can get it cleared without dying, because dying is inevitable in this Overhaul mod. It will happen. Night Stalker Volume 7. Slumber Party. It's best to come late to the party. Do an extra 50% sneak damage to sleeping victims at night. Before we venture inside, let's take a look at what has happened to the base structure of how you level up in the vanilla game. Now, your core attributes, the 5, have been added together, replaced with a system where, again, you level up by doing it. So the outer bar is our level 2 strength now. The inner bar is your progress towards the next level. So you can see in just a small amount of progression, we'll get that to level 3. Finesse has been added in, but otherwise you have your traditional 5 kind of core attribute areas, and everything increases crafting time, scrapping time, increases entity damage, so the damage you do, your health, all from fortitude. And then you have the skills, the things you level up by doing. So right now our gathering is a level 1, it's approaching level 2, you get increased block damage. Right now athletics at a level 0, we don't start where you start in the base game, we start below. We're minus 10% stamina regen, minus 10% jump strength. That one you level up by running, by sprinting. Scavenging time increased by 12.5% right now. Scavenging item count down by 20%, and loot stage minus 10%. So big penalties. And by leveling up scavenging, You can see here what that does to increase your strength. No increase to your fortitude. Finesse increases decently well. Agility doesn't increase at all. Perception goes up the most. And intellect a bit. So you get a little bonus here, there, everywhere, or most places, for each of these skills. Perk books work the same. With Rock Hard, Volume 1 gives you Blackstrap Coffee, less degradation, can craft the headlamp, the pickaxe diamond tips, so on and so forth. Crafting books. Couple additions, mostly works the same, but there's a lot of additional recipes. So as you go through workstations, you unlock a mortar and pestle and a research desk, which is a very handy thing. We'll get to that one when we get to it, but Rain Catchers, the former Dew Collector. Training Dummies, the Forge, unlocks at level 10. Ceramic Crucible at 11. Bronze Anvil at 13. And so forth. And there's caught sight of a lovely enemy who wants to eat me. Though I want to eat him too. Armor has been split into light, medium, and heavy armor. And armors themselves, well, things are different. Like a skull cap, cold resistance, maybe some heat resistance. That's all it's going to do for you. The backpacks to increase your carry capacity. But a lot of the clothing in the world is now completely useless except for resistance to hot or cold environments. Perks is what replaces the old attribute system. Every time you level up, you're able to assign perks. But I just heard a big crash, it was creepy, and now I'm freaked out. Looks like it's going to get dark fairly soon. Let's get inside. Front door is locked, not the proposed method to get in, but we might use alternative methods if necessary. Doghouse and back, that's a quick way to die. Our first encounter of fighting with a dog? Yeah, please no. Ah, there you go. Already getting freaked by a rabbit. Here was that a really important point. As we take to glue. Very useful early on. Very important point here. Everything normal base game begins at about level 10 for all those skills. So you got to get virtually everything to 10 just to be normal day 1, hour 1. My spear, not a normal spear. I can't wield it the same way you do normally until I start using it. And so, big penalties to stamina, big penalties to damage, big penalties to speed. So we are going to wait on the looting a little bit here. Back door's unlocked. That door's unlocked. Okay, well the base floor is clear, and that's certainly a good thing. We've certainly lucked out that we haven't encountered any zombies yet. There's just a few rooms up here. Let's take the open room first. That's going to wake somebody up. And it does. There's our first encounter. And others. Someone's already whacked me. Stamina's okay so far. We had food and water. You can see just how long it's taken me. I've grown stronger. I have grown stronger. We've successfully killed one zombie. And there's his friend. Behind the door, just giving a little whack there, but there we go. Oh, wonderful, a loot bag. Very helpful. Got some knuckle wraps, which I'm not normally a fan of. A bar brawler, I might actually need it under the circumstances, but it looks like this might just about clear out this house. And it's getting dark. Water's had a big overhaul. Drinks have had a big overhaul. Now, what you get out of a sink, out of a toilet, is dirty, infected water. You're gonna have to clean it. Murky water was normal in the vanilla game, but not in this circumstances. And glass jars are back. For one thing, food to eat, definitely possible. Drinking water, things are different than before. Mechanics have changed. Found glasses, those are useless. A couple of lockpicks. And there's some decor in this place. Wouldn't be a terrible first home, except for we need to get to a city. And so a lot of what's here, we're going to want to just take what's useful with us and stay here for the night. We're definitely going to want to stay upstairs, and so I think I'm going to bring our little camp up to here before it gets too late. It's hard to tell, it's a little bit foggy, but it does feel like it's a late afternoon. Without a clock, it's much harder to figure anything out. We woke up another little friend. Gotten out around the outside. Spear's level 1. Basically, we just got about a 1/10 of a point stronger is all that we obtained from that. Gotta be careful in the back because of the potential dog. Oh, that's a... Gather a few more stones. And we're gonna tuck in for the night. Let's grab some more cloth while we're here. And we'll loot the kitchen. There's our cooking pot. In the fridge. And in the oven. Actually very handy to have a couple. And bone knife is the next task, but we're not going to be able to do that until in the morning. Oh, I did pick up a few bones. Okay, so we are going to be able to make a bone knife. Learning as you do. Making a bone knife, our quality is going to be a level 1, 2. Quality system has totally been revamped. There is no quality 1 to 6. Quality is now 1 to 65,000. And repairs? Low quality stuff can't be repaired. It's got to be... Usually it's about 100 points of quality degraded each time that you repair something until eventually it can't be repaired anymore. I'm going to go ahead and scrap these knuckle wraps, maybe. Let's see, melee damage is 7. Yeah, stone spear is definitely doing more. But I think the difference thing is the stamina cost 6.5 versus 16. I'm still going to scrap it. Knuckle wraps is not the path forward for me. In addition to the traditional backpack slots, one of the other things that we are now going to encounter is weight. Every item is given a weight. And so that weight, and our total stack weight, 1.27 kilograms for our stones, adds together. Now we have a maximum weight that we can carry. When you're over 50% of that, you are encumbered. It slows you down just like the backpack slots do, and that stacks. And so if you get too heavy, you literally cannot move at all from the spot. Now as you get stronger, you can carry more, but that takes a lot of time, again, by doing. So we picked up a pair of sunglasses. You can see they have quality 1, but they do nothing for us. They do absolutely nothing for us. They have no armor rating. They just have a little cold and heat resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and scrap those. That, again, for 1, gives me some plastic, but for 2, it's going to give me a little bit of skill. And my tailoring, just like that, grows to level 1. Targeting realism, one of the key things that this mod has done has introduced a vitality system. And the vitality system is a huge modifier that essentially encompasses all your morale, how you're feeling, how you're doing, like how are you coping with the zombie apocalypse. And in that, you either have an increase or a decrease. There's a 100% range. And if you're at 0 vitality, you're going to essentially have a 50% penalty to everything. You're going to lose 50% of your health. You're going to lose 50% of your stamina. Huge penalties. And, this is that full list encompassed. Now, your vitality can change up or down at any given time, continuously. Your goal is to flip that to be positive. Right now, I am losing 0.83% vitality per minute. But luckily, you begin the game with a bonus to give you time to offset and compensate for it. It's going to eventually drop that optimism to 0 by day 8, so after your first horde night. So for now, that bonus is set at 99%, and it's keeping us from dropping. Now you're going to have a number of factors that impact your vitality modifier to turn that into a negative or a positive. And we have an ambient, just a natural degradation of 0.83% per minute. We can impact that. Those perk points can decrease this effect. But we also benefit from the world around us. And all the items could be picked up and used in your base. And if you have a pleasing environment, it's going to make you happier. So decor is really important in this one, and it's broken up into 5 different tiers. Each tier has a bigger impact on what you gain, and again, perk points can impact this. Right now we gain 0.22 per minute. We lose 0.83 per minute. We're not collecting the decor. We're losing the 0.83. That's the natural one, because this is not my base. If I had a land claim block, we would offset that, but again, it wouldn't give us a positive balance. But fortunately, if you're above half on the vitality, if you're above 50%, you're gaining these bonuses. If you're below, you're going to lose. So we can gain 50 maximum health, or we can lose 50 maximum health. Huge swing. Getting on top of the vitality is going to be the most important element to the early game. In the perks, in the modifiers, there are 4 different vitality perk sections. The first one is Survivor, and that's that ambiance. That's that natural loss. We can cut it down by 10, 20, 30, 40, and eventually half of what we would have lost. That also includes hunger and thirst. If you're hungry and thirsty, you're not feeling too good. After we knock out 5 points for Survivor, we'll get into Battle Hardened, which is combat stress. The Decorator bonuses from your base increased by 20%, 40, 60, 80, and eventually doubling the bonus. So that current 0.2 would be a 0.4, but of course you want to gather things and increase that, and that Decorator one can be really helpful. But it's only when you're at your base. So you're at home, you're feeling good. You leave home, go out into the world, you get depressed. Because out in the world you're facing zombies, you're facing the world. Slayer makes you happy about killing. Sun's starting to rise. We're gonna begin to make our move. First thing though, I'm leaving the bedroll here. I want to have some sort of anchor point if something happens to come back to. I'll be crafting a new bedroll shortly to take with me towards our next destination. And as we continue on with our basic quests, I need resin, charcoal powder. 2 new things that didn't exist in vanilla. Definitely not sun up just yet. It's just starting to rise. So we're still very vulnerable out here. We gotta be very careful. And we're gonna go away from Mr. Piggy over there, as we are not fit. We're not fit to fight him at this point. So resin is an interesting one. Right tool, right job in this game. If I were to take an axe and hit grass, I'm not going to get anything out of it. If I hit a tree with an axe, I'm going to chop it down and eventually get wood. If I take a knife to it, I barely do any damage to it whatsoever, but I gather resin. We now have 100 resin. Resin's pretty easy to get with trees all over the place, and Porky is getting dangerously close to where we're at here. Okay, next up we need charcoal powder, but that's a different matter, and that's going to have to wait for another day. I think we need to hit the road. Sun does appear to now be up, and we're going to follow our path, and we need to try to find town. So the first thing I need, and you'll see here, you watch that bottom right corner, spear, nothing. Nothing. Wrong tool for the job. Knife, fists, they work just fine. So let's prepare ourselves a bed, because we are extremely vulnerable right now. We could die very, very quickly. Multiple zombies or a boar will take us out in a hurry. And without a compass, without a map, without that proper sense of direction, if we die and respawn randomly anywhere, that could very quickly be Everything lost permanently. Not that we have much to lose right now, but we definitely have something. There was that initial first moment campsite. 51, I think that's enough for a bedroll. It is. Get that crafted. Put it on our hotbar to drop in a pinch. We're gonna follow the road this direction. We need some stone, so let's gather. You can see with that small sharpened stone, we only got 1 for breaking the whole rock. We've already gotten 3 large stone and a lot of smaller stone from hitting it with the pickaxe. So again, as you get the right tool, things change. We are a little overloaded now though, both in weight and backpack space. And now a little bit heavier as well. But if we carve these guys up, that'll shave some weight off just a little bit. Oh, and then I go and pick up more. Yeah, not terribly helpful. Not the smartest move. I don't want to waste too much stamina sprinting. We're going to need it. Get that on bedroll on the hotbar. By the way, I do float between using keyboard and mouse, and I do like to play with a remote, but it's got some limitations to it. But I like the feel, especially for fighting. Without crosshairs, things do get tricky a little bit here and there. Multiple directions. Which way is the road? Well, the bag's this way, so we'll start that direction. Ooh, a medical journal. That's good. Bandage. We have 2 to begin, but bandages will be a necessary item. Okay, here we go. Got another friend. Gotta level up by doing, so let's do. Especially when it's 1. Combat, level 1. Now, game stage levels up with the combat 1. So that's one that you don't want to level up too much. You want everything else to level up around it more than it. But it's just kind of a necessary element. We found another POI. And it's a much bigger house this time. Journey's End. That just doesn't feel like where I want to be right now. That feels like there's going to be some strong enemies in there. We're going to loot the road and see if I can find the mailbox. And otherwise we're going to stay clear of this place. Vehicle Adventures, first one there. That's good to have. Just got a little heavier, a little more encumbered. Let's not pick up that meat right now. There are lots of animals in the world, so we very much are going to need a food source. Speaking of food source, your first food source, sham sandwich. It's not bad for you, except it is. So we'll eat 1. And you can see down on my bottom left that I'm now carrying, we have our water. I wish the coloring was more of a stark difference. It's a little harder to tell, but you have water. Full bottle is. I just woke up a zombie. Oh, he's getting eaten. He's getting attacked by a boar. Let's avoid that fight. There was another zombie there. It's a big boy, but it's the lower level one. I wish you could scan while doing the search. It takes a long time to not see much of what's going on. Traps book. Normally I would scrap this, but I get too much. We're carrying around too much as it is. I've got 6 feathers, and I have the ability to make more arrows. And as I'm overloaded, let's take that opportunity. There you are. Okay, we got him down. Spear's halfway to level 2. Let's go ahead and search this car. Again, not a fan of picking stuff up at the moment, but I don't think we're ever going to be coming back this direction. By the way, almost every single resource you can pick up, unlike in the vanilla, almost every single resource is going to have a valid purpose. Things like bone shards, they all get used. There's recipes that use them, that need them. basic resources just have much more purpose here. And I'm here for it. Is it a runner? Not really, but he's an easy fight for us. It's a little fast. Different zombies, different speeds, even during the day. And isolated 1s and 2s are so much easier to take on. Oh, spear broke, spear broke. Doesn't take long when it's level 1, and we can't use it. Quality 1, we're gonna have to scrap it. We're gonna pick up 13 stone out of that, but to make a new one, I need a few more plant fibers. This is why I gathered those stones earlier. I think I may have found the road. Oh, nice. Got her in one hit, and we have our spear ready. And yes, sure enough, we have reached the road. I can see a building there, and a town right here. We have reached town, folks. Got Greg's garage. That might serve as an initial outpost, but not a permanent home. What you're gonna want to do is, because of the decor, the heavy stuff's hard to move around, and the good stuff's heavy. Most of it. As a result, you'd like to set up your base in a nice place. If you die, we end up way back down that trail, and there was a few turns in that road. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop down our bedroll just so we've got something safe. But we're gonna try to get into Greg's first. Be able to store some items here. And then go find a good place in town to live. I think I can tell pretty quickly what we're looking at here, decor-wise. Yeah, see, it's a lot of tier 1 and tier 2. We're not getting any tier 3, the vitality bonus, at least where we're standing. That's 6 hits to kill. 6 hits. That's a lot. Spears, level 2. The darker, the muddier ones, they definitely go down easier. They're kind of here to match your level. I think I brought up a sham sandwich and how it was possible to eat, and it didn't elaborate. You got the water, you got the food in the bottom left bar, and then our being overweight is that third marker. But the fourth one, the frowny face, that's your gut. And as long as you don't get that to 100%, as long as that doesn't reach 100%, you are safe. You'll throw up. You'll throw up what's in your stomach. So your food and water will drop. I don't know if it goes all the way to nothing, but it'll drop significantly. Okay, that was definitely not the way in. We'll have to try to go around the other side. I like using my knife for this as being fisticuffs. Barehanded is not the way. You want to get better with a knife for multiple reasons. So, gather some grass here while we go around. See, there's no natural entrance here, is there? And it seems to be attached directly to the motel, which is not where I want to be. But we're going to bypass this place. Take this with me a little further up the road. So tempted, but not yet. Not yet. Soon enough. We need the outpost first. Okay, I know that motel. There's an underground section in there, and yeah, there's a lot going on in that place. Tier 2, tier 3, something along those lines, but definitely not something we're ready for just yet. Oh, sham sandwich is all you had? And a couple runners on the right. Also a walker. Okay, we got his attention. He's alone. We can take him. He is a little tougher though, but we fought one of them. The first zombie we fought was one of these guys. Boy, that sounded like a screamer, didn't it? Ooh, Spear Hunter book. And Scavenging level 1. That is excellent. Okay, we got a lot of traffic here. I have to be careful. Definitely got to think about dropping. Spear Hunter, Volume 3. Spears have a 25% chance to add 24 damage worth of bleed to the target. Oh, that is amazing for our early progress here. Nothing in that mailbox. She's an easy kill. Right, the dirty ones, they're usually a little smaller than the other zombies. They're easy to take down. We're gonna bypass these first few houses, though I'm not gonna bypass that trash. And my gut's looking pretty good. My food is still okay, but let's eat a little more. I haven't drank any water yet. Water's almost down to half. Oh, I missed. Combat 2. That is a screamer. And she just screamed. Seriously, we're gonna get a whole bunch of friends coming in, aren't we? Ronald McDonald, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm hightailing it out of here. Big complex over there. Oh, the COC, that could be a safe spot to set up as an initial camp. Do have a couple of zombies kind of heading my direction, but so far this is looking like knock out bottom 2 rungs of the ladder and you got a safe path up and one zombie. Plenty of space up here. But what we don't have is any decor at all. So this is not where you'd want to stay. Spears level 3. She's still out there screaming. Oh man. Rawhide. That's the leather. Yeah. As in leather armor. Alright, we're gonna put our bedroll down here. It's our first kind of safe place. Oh, there's a ladder on each side, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. Oh, he's gonna kill that deer. Definitely easy to throw some storage up here. Just, you know, the biggest issue with this place is that there's no decor. 0.01. But we're encumbered and it's a good place to drop some things off and at least get us out and about with some safety, some security. Fun little trick. If you look up into the sky when it's raining, you're actually gonna drink some of the water. It's very little. It doesn't make much of a difference at all. This makes a lot more difference. But still, interesting part to the game. Alright, we have our resin. What we need to do is gather charcoal powder. And to do that, we're going to have to get some charcoal. And to do that, well, we need a fire. We need a fire to burn. We already have a cooking pot, which is awesome. First thing we can kind of look to eat is going to be boiled eggs, as the charred meat takes away your water, and I think water is a bigger concern than food in the early game. No sign of our screamer. Alright folks, well, Hot and Cold is back in the game, and of course, very helpful to us. What we have now, a ton of work to do. I mean, we are literally just getting started. Our skills, Athletics is a 1. Logging is a 2. Gathering is a 2. Stealth is 1. Scavenging is 1. Combat's 2. Spears, ooh, it's a 3. Let's look at that spears for a second. Minus 7% entity damage. We gain 1% every time we level it up. 3.5% stamina loss multiplier, meaning we lose more stamina each time we use it. Max range is shortened, so we can't reach as far with it. Block range. Attacks per minute slowed. So it's slower. It costs more stamina. It does less damage. We've got to get that to level 10 just to get it to where we start the game normally. And that is what makes this so wonderful. It really splits up your skills. It makes it a lot harder to level up. It adds a lot more in terms of crafting. Right now, though, I've got ladders that are a bit of an issue. And we've got to go out and start looting and gathering things and getting books so that we can get the bigger, better recipes. But that's all going to wait for the next one. We've done most of the from scratch now. The charcoal powder will come. Actually, it'll come now. We've got our first charcoal coming out of that campfire. Charcoal can be either crafted or just scrapped, either way. But we can scrap this first bit of charcoal. And the first thing to make is pitch. And let's see, I need the resin. So resin plus charcoal powder equals pitch. The pitch is used in a lot of recipes as well. The old system of just crafting things on the spot, you go through a planner. There's so much. I'm so excited to bring this to you, and I hope you're enjoying seeing this content and the ultimate challenge setup that we are preparing for this one. Fingers crossed that the number of deaths will be kept to a reasonable amount as we go through. Right now, my character is incredibly weak, and if we get caught up by multiple zombies, and especially if we get caught up with thirst, we're gonna have some real issues on our hand. But first bit of pitch on the way, and we'll really be done with that one. If you like what you saw here, please hit that like button. Give the algorithm a little bit of a boost. It's an 11-year-old game, but it's a new mod that is out there, a new Overhaul mod. This is Afterlife. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now. Next up's the torch.